This actually did happen to a real person. And the real person is me. I'd gone to an appointment. I knew I was going to be early, so I brought myself some books, a bottle of water, and a packet of brownies. I want you to take a look at the scene. Here's the table. My books. Bottle of water. Packet of brownies. There's a guy sitting next to me. Perfectly ordinary looking guy. Wearing a blazer. Carrying a briefcase. It didn't look like he was going to do anything weird. What he did was this. He suddenly leaned across, picked up the packet of brownies, tore it open, took one out, and ate it. Now this, I have to say, is the sort of thing Canadians are very bad at dealing with. There's nothing in our background, upbringing, or education that teaches you how to deal with someone who in broad daylight has just stolen your brownies. You know what would happen if this was South Central Los Angeles? There would have been gunfire, helicopters coming in, CNN, you know? But in the end, I did what any red-blooded Canadian would do. I ignored it. And I stared at the wall, took a sip of water, flipped through my books. I couldn't do anything. I thought, what am I going to do? I decided that I'd have to go for it, and I tried very hard not to notice the fact that the packet was already mysteriously opened. I took out a brownie for myself. I thought, that settled him. But it hadn't, because a moment later, he did it again. He took another brownie. Having not mentioned it the first time, it was somehow even harder to raise the subject the second time around. Excuse me, I couldn't help but notice. It doesn't really work. We went through the whole packet like this. When I say the whole packet, I mean there were only about 8 brownies, but it felt like a lifetime. He took one. I took one. He took one. I took one. Finally, when we got to the end, he stood up and walked away. Well, we exchanged meaningful looks. Then he walked away. And I breathed a sigh of relief and sat back. A while later it was my turn, so I grabbed my bottle of water, picked up my books, and there underneath the books were my brownies. The thing I particularly like about this story is the sensation that somewhere in Toronto there has been wandering around for the last several years a perfectly ordinary guy with the exact same story. Only he doesn't have the punchline.